look at it, man. Look at this thing.
Yeah, thing of beauty, man.
It's absolutely stunning. And honestly, I mean, I've only driven this thing from where we picked it up to here, and already I can absolutely vouch for one of these things. It's an instant buy for me. Like, I can already tell I'm going to go home, look these up in the used market. It's that kind of car.
Tickles you.
It tickles me, man. It tickles my fancy in just the right way. And I want to walk you through all those reasons why in today's conversation. But
well, how about we drive through those reasons?
No driving, mate. Just walking, and this we're going to do walking simulation.
We were pulling up to the petrol station before, and two guys actually, were definitely like, "Oh,"
and that's the kind of attention that we want. but still, honestly, like I can't fathom how good this design is and how it's held up over the years. Now, since then, there has been a facelifted example, which I think looks even better. Most of the front end has been changed, but this looks classic to me.
It's beautiful, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And you know what? Like, I would love to see. I don't know if it came standard in any other colors, but I would love to see this in a British Racing green.
Oh,
I think it would look like fucking
that is
electric,
the holy
man.
grail color, man. I mean, it suits it because it's a British car, right? And so this thing about this is like it combines beauty, brawn, and British charm all together in one package.
All right, it sounds bloody lovely.
All right, mate. Yeah, let's check it out. All right. But so today, what I want to do is take this thing for a drive, obviously, but we'll cover the exterior, the interior, launch this thing, time it, and get both of us to drive it to get a car person's perspective and a non-car person's perspective. I could talk about the exterior of this thing for hours. The people watching this probably, yeah, you'd literally run out of things to say. You'd be like,
red, and
vehicle,
car.
Red. Did I say red?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weirdly, don't like the carbon look for the mirror cap.
You don't like that?
I think it looks dumb. I really like it when this matches that.
Well,
love this, weirdly.
Okay. That is weird.
Don't like that.
No, you're right. That is weird. Because if you like it here, why wouldn't you like it there?
I don't know.
Brain
says no.
That makes me feel uncomfortable. I don't like that. I'm sorry. Yeah, look, totally fair. But standout features for me, it's annoying because it's like standout feature is every single angle of this car. I mean, I love the rear end, the tail lights, the way everything swoops down.
It is a bit of a swoopy car,
It's a
isn't
swooper, man. It's a swooper. Maybe not like that. And then there's those two exhaust pipes at the back.
Yeah.
Just fit the car perfectly.
They look grunty, yeah.
Don't they?
Yeah.
Oh, they just look so good.
And they're big.
But I mean, like those tail lights, for example, they've actually aged so well because that is the way that all the design language has started going over the last 10 years. Everything's getting slimmer, smaller. And so in that sense, it's really held up nicely. The front end, I mentioned that the facelifted vehicle has a new front end. I really like this front end because to me, it looks like a classic Jaguar.
Okay.
Something about it fits the design language of Jaguar as I know it historically. And so I think it just has this classic look about it. The door handles are cool, how they pop out when you unlock the car.
I didn't know that they were doing that in 2013, man. That's quite surprising.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, wow.
These hood vents I like a lot as well with the honeycomb grille.
Ooh,
I like how you can see
the bees like them too.
The bees. I like how you can see the supercharged badging through it.
Yes.
That's awesome. You know, quite a few people say it's sort of Aston Martin looks with Porsche performance for half the price.
Okay.
That's probably stretching it, you know, in all of those capacities.
But a little bit of mental gymnastics on that one.
Yeah, I get it. You probably, when I say all these names in cars, you probably like, no idea what that is.
Yeah, that's the Death Star, and that one's an X-Wing.
But, you know, it's interesting that people say Aston Martin looks because the designer, Ian Callum, he worked on the Aston Martin DB9. And so you can clearly see some of that design language coming through if you start to look for it.
Man, when do they come up with like names for this stuff? DB9. This is the DB9.
It's DB.
Well, I think of DB as in like
double brown beer.
Well, the beer, yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
no one overseas will know what we're talking about.
But hey, I think of beer when I think of DB. Can we bleed over to the interior, considering we can see half of it because it's
Let's do it.
Convertible.
Let's do it. What do you think about the inside?
I like it. I like it initially. There's a lot more buttons than I would normally go for. You know me, a little bit of a minimalist. I do like that there's almost like a shield saying, "No, passenger, these controls are for me."
Yeah. Well, in that sense, it's a driver-oriented vehicle. I mean, everything is slanted towards you.
I'd love it if it was a passenger-oriented vehicle.
Steering wheel facing me.
Yeah. Or it just like moves around.
Yeah. There's an absolute array of buttons all over the steering wheel.
And they look very clunky. They're not sort of like the touch.
They're kind of plastic and cheap, those buttons a little bit. Yeah. In fact, the steering wheel is probably one of my biggest areas for improvement in this car.
Yeah. What do you think of the two-tone pedals here? Like it's a copper color. It's also got a few of the
Yeah,
other
I like the
sporty
copper
bits.
accents actually.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like how it adds a little contrast. However, again, the paddles are a little bit sort of plasticky, and I would have hoped
Okay.
they had a more kind of solid feeling to them. A couple of other things about the interior. The glove box is a cool little button to open it. I really love this tiny little button here. I don't know why, but it just feels yeah, it is a bit like that. It just feels premium though.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know, something about that tiny little metallic button just feels rather than the old clunky old
It is
plastic
kind
handle.
of weird because it is appealing, right? Like some features you do want to draw attention to, and some it's better to leave them understated and subtle. For some reason, that button it works, but
does.
I'd hate for it to break, and I feel like I'd just one day mash it and be like, fucking broken.
I also like how, it's got this little S badge here, just so you know what you've got. I like how the air conditioning vents rise up when you start the air conditioning.
Yeah.
That little element of movement feels premium. I quite like the climate control buttons because it's a really nice mix of analog and digital, because you have these tiny screens, indicating the temperature and the fan speed, but then you still have these nice tactile rotary dials to adjust it, which in a world today where everything's buried in a menu, I mean that's nice, and also visually it's kind of striking having these three dials.
Definitely brings a bit of a steampunk aesthetic into the 22nd century.
Yeah, sort of. And then there's kind of jet fighter buttons down here as well. Like
I actually kind of am into that.
Yeah, those feel really nice. The gear stick, gear lever, it's okay. It looks no different.
Functional.
Really. Yeah.
Not.
It doesn't stand out in any way.
Not anything to write to your mum about. Hey, mum, guess what?
Dear mother, I'm writing this letter to you to discuss the gear lever. One other thing I'll say about the interior is that the instrument cluster left a little bit to be desired for me, only because I used to own an Audi S5 that had almost an identical look. Where the dials had these this kind of telescopic effect of the casing around it, the screen in the middle. I guess it didn't feel special to me because these cheaper vehicles had it at the time.
Okay. Once again, it's an interesting mix, as you say, with the climate control, with the tachometer and the speedometer being sort of more analog, and it's got digital display in the middle. I think it in this paradigm makes it feel just a little bit clunky, actually.
Really?
Like they're like, oh, we don't know what to do.
Yeah. Would you rather it was just one or the other?
One or the other. Yeah. And I think analog for this one.
Agreed.
Would have been better.
Agreed. Well, anyway, let's start this thing up and see how it drives. Ready?
Yeah.
Oh! Oh my gosh! That is a sensory experience, isn't it?
Yeah, man. Fucking
I was not expecting it to be that quick. I mean, 380 horsepower on paper.
Yeah.
We've driven cars around that horsepower before, but I don't know, man. Maybe because it's a convertible, maybe because it's lower. It felt faster than that, hey?
Zippy, man.
Yeah.
Like, just rapid.
Yeah, that's very, very impressive. Wow.
Yeah.
Just the sound alone sells it for me. I mean, it's got the speed to back it up, don't get me wrong, but the sound is so good. And this is only the V6 version. There's the V8 version above it, but
jeez,
I would not be displeased owning this V6 model. I mean, it's certainly
I'd go as far as to say please, man. Yeah.
That's pushing it. Mate. You're being a bit desperate there.
No, man. Yeah, you're right. The sound, it's unbelievable with the top down, man.
It's so much better than I thought, because I was like, oh, we're getting the V6 model. It's not the top of the range V8. It might be so-so, but it really delivers. Like, this thing is exceptional.
Yeah, man.
Oh my god. And it's so, like I said, 380 horsepower on paper, 430 odd newton meters of torque.
Yeah.
Being supercharged, it has an interesting driving profile, because sort of down low in the rev range, there's actually not much happening. That's me flooring it in fifth gear.
Yeah.
Kind of felt like nothing, right?
No.
So I can distinctly feel that kind of lack of torque low down.
Yeah.
But then once you crack it open and get higher into the rev range,
yeah, it's like it's having a think. Oh, that's what you want to do.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it's engaging, man.
Absolutely, and that's the nature of supercharged engines, is that they are almost like a naturally aspirated engine in the sense that you kind of have to wring them out to get that power and torque band. But the thing is, the V8 version is also supercharged, right? And so the dynamics will be similar. It'll just have more of everything, more horsepower, more torque, more sound. That said, there are a few advantages to the V6 version over the V8. One of them is that the V6 engine up front is actually lighter than the V8. Yeah,
okay, cool.
Right? We had that before in the Audi RS4, when we really felt the weight of that V8 at the front. Okay. But the advantage of it being slightly lighter is that the turn-in for the handling is noticeably sharper.
Oh, okay.
And so it has that advantage. And of course, also, you know, being the V6 lower output engine, it is better on fuel. I don't think anyone buying this car cares too much about fuel usage, but there's a benefit if you want it. And then, can you guess what transmission this car has? Take a wild guess.
The only one that I know is the ZF.
You'll be right. It's another ZF, man. These things are bloody everywhere. I can't believe it. But again, once again, I can't fault it. Like in this application, the ZF does everything you need it to do and more. Because, you know, the shifts are sharp, they're quick, they don't get in the way. And so talking about the weight savings with the V6 engine up front and how it helps with the turn-in, let's talk about the handling a little bit. It's interesting because, you know, being a car that clearly has sporting intentions, there's not much feedback in the steering wheel. I'm not feeling a heck of a lot coming through. Okay. Which I would have anticipated a little bit more.
In the steering wheel, hey?
Yeah, just because, I mean, a classic feature of a sports car is, you know, having that communication and feedback. Okay. Kind of knowing exactly where the tyres are on the road. That said, the handling is really good. I mean, the car turns in so well.
Something I notice more in this car than I have more than pretty much every single other car we've reviewed is like not just the sound aesthetic, but the vibration that you actually feel cascading up through your body. Which, it's really pointed, and it makes it feel the car more connected to you, like you are more connected to the car and what you're
Absolutely,
doing.
Man. And in fact, the V6 has a 50-50 weight distribution front and rear. And I believe the V8 version is just off that. And so this V6 version does have what you could argue is that perfect balance that a lot of people look for in a sports car. And so again, it's another sort of feather in its cap for this more affordable, cheaper V6 model.
There's a tipping return on investment, right? Where you say, far out, I would love the V8, but for the extra however many grand, it's not worth it.
I don't think so. I think the value proposition is here in this model, and I think anyone would be happy with one of these. It's got more than enough power. But I want to see how you feel when you drive it as someone that doesn't really typically drive sports cars.
Yeah, man.
Let's swap seats.
Let's do it. I'm gonna fang it, man.
Fang it, dude. Hey! Dude!
Oh, Jesus. Holy shit.
It sounds so good. It sounds
like
so
a
good.
Flat roller coaster. Holy man. Oh, God. It makes me nervous to be, like, commanding the power. It's kind of...
you don't feel worthy of it?
Well, it's intimidating, man.
Yeah. I guess it would be if you're not used to a high-power vehicle.
But we've driven more high-powered vehicles with this thing. It just sounds like a Jaguar, you know? Like the
sounds
actual
like its
animal.
namesake? Yeah. And credit to them, because I'm surely that's what they're going for.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. I mean, you'd never get bored of that, surely. And so, on paper, this thing does 0 to 100 Ks or 0 to 60 miles in 4.9 seconds.
Yep. Sorry, I just love that.
And I'd believe it. Yeah. However, you and I just did a timed run, both of us in the car. We didn't use full launch control and slightly uphill. And we got 5.8 seconds. And the reason why we do that is because we just want to get what is a kind of everyday typical flooring it from a traffic light kind of, you know, what the passenger look like.
But it's about the feeling.
It is about the feeling, because
And
5.8.
It didn't feel like 5.8. It felt like I think it felt like the very fastest that we've done so far.
Yeah, even though we've had cars do 4.4 or thereabouts. Yeah, absolutely, I agree, man. And a lot of that, like I said, is because of the sound, but also surely because we're so low down.
Yeah.
We've got the roof off,
Totally,
so
man.
all of the sensors are amplified, and so it feels faster for that reason. And I'll be curious to see if we were to drive the coupe model, the hardtop, if that sensation is less or more.
Like most of the time I'm more fixated on, you know, like stuff like, oh yeah, are we staying in the lane? Are we going where we're supposed to go? Have I got my lights
What does the
on?
indicator sound like?
Yeah. But this, it's pure connection. Man.
Yeah.
It's
And that's exactly what you want out of a sports car. You want to feel this connection with the car. You want to feel excited. You want to feel some sort of emotion when you look at it, when you drive it, when you start it up. And this ticks all those boxes.
Totally, man.
And so then the question comes back to...
Sorry, what was your question?
My question doesn't matter anymore, because that's the answer every time. The question was going to be, it comes back to the price point in the competition. So you're thinking to yourself, okay, this ticks all the boxes. It, you know, sounds good. It goes well. It's got good handling. Blah blah blah. What else could I get for the money? And there are all sorts of trade-offs that you'd be making at this price point. Like I mentioned, you can get a really tidy BMW M4 of the F generation. You could be getting an AMG C63. You could be getting a well-spec Porsche Boxster, a low-spec Porsche Cayman. There are all sorts of different options, but I think this brings something unique to the table, which is what I said at the start. It's got that beauty, brawn, and British charm. I think it has that unique factor going for it.
The I'd say X factor, but given that it's an F-Type, maybe it's the F factor.
It does have the F factor, man. Yeah, and that's why I think this car is going to be a classic or a collector's car, because now Jaguar, as we were talking about earlier, is going fully electric. They're completely rebranding. They're targeting a different audience.
Yeah.
So this is going to be the last of its kind.
Dude, we've got to get a manual of this. We've got to at some point.
If anyone out there has a manual F-Type in New Zealand, please let us know.